haven't been sleeping. Very, very much on alert ever since we found out that Shedeur Sanders is starting a football game. And when something of this magnitude happens, Albert, it's very similar, I would imagine, to the Pentagon, moments before a declaration of war, or at like a major bank before some sort of Great Depression. And so
everyone's at the battle stations. Yeah.
have
you been taking your first team reps this week?
Yeah, haven't left our laptops. I have not seen
Yeah.
my family in 48 hours because we are preparing as hard as we can.
Yeah,
for the debut.
I mean, I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that they didn't. I mean, there's got to be some sort of loophole where they could emergency flex this into Sunday Night Football, right?
I would imagine that the commissioner and all of the broadcast partners are currently working on this. Tony Romo has been kidnapped so that he can't call the game and ruin it for everybody. Just kidding. But yeah, that we'll get to that. But I'm alerting all of you. If you have not heard this, shelter in place. Make sure that you have enough food and water and emergency supplies for the next few days, because if you enjoy takes and if you enjoy analysts twisting themselves into pretzels to talk about something that no one gives a shit about, this is a big week. So.
I mean, I just said to you at the top, but right before we went on here, like, this has moved from annoyance, like my annoyance of this storyline, because I have to keep saying the same thing over and over again, to now enjoyment. Like, I'm enjoying the reactions. Like, I was a kid in a candy store on Sunday night on Twitter, just seeing the whole world explode, over. He looks like everybody thought he was going to look, like all the teams felt like he looked. This is why he fell to the 5th round, versus some sort of weird litigation over practice reps, which I don't know if I've ever, have we ever like done that before? Like, this might be a first in sports media, litigating practice reps like this.
So for those of you who don't know, there started it's a rich argument between many people who have played football. And this is like, and I'm not.
And this is like when people like us need to just take a step back. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like,
but
yeah.
But the wild part is there's people who have played football on both sides of this argument.
Both sides of this.
And,
yeah.
And to me, it's analogous to, and this isn't a politics podcast, but it's political at this point. Like, so there are people that are just decidedly pro Shedeur and decidedly anti Shedeur, and he's this kind of monolith of an entertainment property, and now everyone is like losing their minds over this. I can't believe it.
Yeah, so I would say, and back in the day, you'd send this to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right?
Please, someone.
I think I've cracked the code, though, right? So we've got the players that are like, he should be getting more reps, and then the players that are like, no, this is normal.
Right.
I think I've cracked the code.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just, before you say this, I just want to finish. So the argument, for those who haven't seen it and are not as chronically online and probably way healthier than Albert and I, is that Shedeur Sanders did not succeed because he did not get starting snaps going into the week. Mind you, Shedeur Sanders is a backup quarterback, and backup quarterbacks don't get first team reps.
This thing's gotten to the point now where I had to do I went through my mental Rolodex, tried to take myself back to like 1996 and 1997. And you see it back there, the Lincoln Sudbury Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And like, how often do you remember your coach randomly throwing backups into a practice, whether you were a sophomore, a junior, a senior, whether you were a starter or a backup? Because that's all experience a lot of us have had, you know what I mean, on both sides of that fence. And so how often was it that you would randomly, like the coach would randomly throw the second? What I remember was we would have a first team offense, a second team offense, a scout team defense. First team takes a rep. They run the play. Second team comes in, runs the same play. then we go back and forth. And so
Wow.
the backups aren't getting starter reps. They're running the offense, but they're not getting the starter reps. Anyway, so like I think like anybody looks like if you think about your own history playing sports, they're like, oh yeah, it's not that common that a backup would just randomly get a rep with the starters when that just wouldn't happen, you know? So anyway, I think I've cracked the code here though, because I was listening to my buddy Ryan Russillo's podcast this morning and Willie Colon was on there. Right. And so Willie Colon fell down on the side of like, oh yeah, we got Charlie Batch ready to play behind Ben Roethlisberger. Right. And then I was on a radio show this morning and Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington, I think it was Brady brought this up to me. Maybe it was Jonas Knox. One of those guys brought it up to me that Jeff Saturday had said the same thing. Right. So Jeff Saturday and Willie Colon, what do they have in common?
Offensive line.
Most of their careers were played prior to 2011.
Right.
Which is when the rules changed.
Yes.
Okay. And so the rules changed. For people who don't know, the rules became far more restrictive as far as how much you can practice, what you can do in practice. Like, and the NFLPA monitors this stuff very closely. And so starting in 11, the rules became far stricter, and those reps, because there are less of them, became more valuable. So I think like what's happened over the course of the last 15 years is those reps have increasingly become like, no, we only have time to get the starters ready. Sorry. Like that's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? Like, and if we're going to have a competent offense, defense, and that's like even going back to the effect of like having less, being able to do less in training camp in the spring, all of that. So every rep that you have in practice is more valuable now, and you're more apt to give that rep to a guy who's actually going to play on Sunday. So I think that's where the disagreement is. I think what you have to realize about this is Dillion Gabriel's a rookie too, needed all the work that he could get to be ready to go, you know? And like the Jerry Jeudy's and Cedric Tillman and David Njoku's, like all of those guys, they need the reps with Gabriel also.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had those reps. So like the idea that this is some sort of like massive injustice or there's some sort of conspiracy theory out there that's like sabotaging Shedeur Sanders' ability to develop at the quarterback position is asinine. And I will give you an example of this that I think is the best example, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Okay. So Patrick Mahomes in 2017 basically got 0 starter reps once the season started. Just the way it was, right? Like maybe 1 or 2 here and there, but for the most part, no practice, no starter reps. So what he was doing was during the week, he would be running the scout team. So if you're playing the Chargers this week, you're running the Chargers offense. If you're running the Raiders this week, you're running the Raiders offense. And quarterbacks will tell you there is value in that too.
Sure.
And that you sort of like learn the speed of the game and you're playing against the starting defense and all of that different stuff, right? So I remember talking to the coaches who were there in 18. So this was when he actually started playing. And they told me what he would do during his rookie year, which was he would take the practice squad guys after practice on his own and run back through the practice script with them because he wasn't getting first team reps. So he didn't get a chance to run the Chiefs offense. He was running the other team, the opponent's offense.
Right.
So he and this is like one of the things that's really special about Pat, right? Is, you know, grew up in a clubhouse with his dad and all of that. So he understands the dynamics of a locker room. He would never even ask a Tyreek Hill or a Sammy Watkins or a Travis Kelce to come work with them because those were Alex's guys. Right. Those are the starters guys. So I don't want to create division here, but I need to get the work in. So I'm going to take the practice squad guys and we're all going to get our work in together. And that sort of thing is common in the NFL now. And it's become more common because it's hard to get those reps because there just aren't enough to go around. So like that sort of context, it just took me 2 minutes to explain that, right? It doesn't fit into like a television segment to explain that. And people's eyes glaze over when they have to hear it because everybody has such short attention spans now. But like, that's
with you. I'm still here. I'm in. I'm interested. I'm with you.
That's
I'm
a reality.
Not glazing over.
That's the reality of being an NFL player in 2025, right? And I think Shedeur's done some of that stuff where he's kept guys after, right? I think he has, from what I understand. And so, like, I don't know, like this idea that there's some grand injustice going on or some great conspiracy is so asinine. I don't even know what to do with it. But again, it's gone from annoyance to like now I'm starting to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like now I'm at the point where it's like it's actually kind of funny, you know? Like you're that big an idiot, like go ahead, have fun. Like I'm going to enjoy this.
I
Cuz
think
we're going to remember this in 3 years. We're going to look back on this in 3 years when like Arch Manning is the Browns quarterback.
God.
And we're going to be like, what the hell were we even arguing about? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's true about a lot of things that we will look back on. But it's one of those things where I'm still in the mad phase because it's just a refusal to believe reality. And it's just like you are not confronting the actual way that the world works. And I'm
Right.
sorry. Like, I'm sorry that it's just like, my son and I just finished, my daughter and I just finished Harry Potter, the third book.
Yep.
I would love it if there was a wizard school and I could send my kids there and they would have all these cool experiences. That's not the way that the world works. And like, there are some people that just want Shedeur Sanders to be this day one starter who was unjustly robbed of the opportunity and are envisioning this whole world in their heads. And I'm sure it's very interesting, but it is not reality. He had one good preseason start against the backup Carolina Panthers, and we just have to move on. We
Where
have
they
to
were
move
running
on.
nothing.
We
Where they
have
were
to
doing
move on.
nothing.
Yes. Like,
And like that Rams game, if you remember, like
not
sort of
great.
exposed everything.
Not great.
Like, and all the reasons why he went in the 5th round and why he was the 4th guy on the depth chart. And a lot of those, and like I don't want to rake him over the coals for
No.
what happened against the Ravens, because that was a really tough spot. Coming in that game as a rookie, like that's a really difficult spot, but you can still see the stuff. You
Almost
know
let
what I
him
mean?
down the field. I mean, that was a drop ball or whatever, a good defensive play, whatever you want to label it as. I mean, he was almost there. Yeah.
Right. Like, so, and God knows what the storyline would be then, but you saw a lot of the flaws still. You see some physical ability. You see on the flip side, he's still bailing out of the back of the pocket, not stepping up, doesn't seem to have great presence there. He's not seeing it fast enough. When the blitz comes, he's not throwing hot.
Right.
Like, there's like all these things that I can see as somebody who isn't an NFL coach or an NFL scout that like matches up with what teams were telling me in March and April.
Right.
And that doesn't make Shedeur uncommon. That doesn't make Shedeur a bad quarterback. That doesn't mean Shedeur doesn't have any future. It just means he's got a ways to go. And that's okay.
It is.
And I just like I don't like you do feel to some degree like you're banging your head into the wall, but it just it's kind of gotten to the point like you go through these different stages of it. Like, so I'm on the amusement. I went from the annoyance stage to the amusement stage.
I think
and
I'm
kind of enjoying it now. You know what I mean? Like all these people, like I was on Cleveland radio earlier this week, and I've done radio with these guys forever, and they're awesome. And but like it almost became a sport for me. Like the 20 minutes I was on with my guy Nick, and like where I was like shooting down everything he said. You know what I mean? I was like, and it was the easiest thing in the world. It was just like, what other 5th round pick have you ever talked about like this?
Ever?
No. Like, do you know who the Browns' 5th round pick was 3 years ago? Can you remember? Like, how would that guy normally be developed? Like that guy normally wouldn't be playing, right?
No.
Like the guy normally would be getting practice reps and getting ready to go, and like maybe he has a great training camp in year 2 and breaks through then, but that would not be unusual. We're still treating him like he was the first pick in the draft.
Yeah. It's
which he wasn't, and he never was going to be, like I can say this point blank. The Titans never considered drafting Shedeur Sanders. They brought him in and all that. They never considered it.
People
right?
who listen to
the Giants
this show
didn't consider taking him 26th overall when they moved
No.
up for Jackson Dart. Those were not difficult decisions for those teams.
And I mean, you see it. You know what I mean? Like Jackson Dart was thrown in against the Chargers and can swim. He's he would probably be the number 1 overall pick in this coming year's
It was
draft. You know,
the simplest way to put it, Connor, was somebody said to me when comparing Dart and Shedeur, because I'm telling you, like over the course of March and April, when I really get caught up and learn more about this stuff as I talk to different teams and all of that, there was a mountain of Dart's better than Sanders, a mountain of it.
if you listen to if anyone listened to this podcast, they would have heard it. We started talking about this in January of last year. January.
And I had to be careful about the way I said it because of all the hysteria. But like the simplest way to put it, like when I had a GM say this to me, and it's the easiest way to put it. And it was like, if you want to know about like where both guys are developmentally, when Jackson Dart is in trouble, he moves forwards. When Shedeur Sanders in trouble, he moves backwards.
Yep.
And that seems like a simple little thing, but it's not. It's like playing quarterback in the NFL. It's like the rush is going to get to you, and you can see Jackson Dart climbing in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, keeping the play alive. With Shedeur Sanders, you see him bailing out of the pocket, trying to escape from 5 different guys chasing him. And what everyone would say to me is like, that's not going to work in the NFL. Like if he tries to do that, there are going to be guys who are 0.3 of a second faster in the 40-yard dash chasing him down. And and he's not fast enough to get away because he's not the type of athlete like a Lamar or a Kyler or a Josh Allen is.
Right.